Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial. So a while ago I did this project on the Renault Vision 2027 F1 concept car, and I used the CATIA V5 2017 model to create it. So now I have the 2020 version installed, and I thought I would repeat the project to see what's new in the new workbench. So this is another model that I've created using the 2027 version. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to teach you guys more about the Imagine and Shape workbench as well as the GSD workbench. But if you're an absolute beginner, you might need to go and check out a project we did on the MD500E helicopter, because we went into details step by step, and maybe you can acquaint yourself with how the workbench works. For this tutorial, you might need a little bit of foundation on the IMA as well as a GSD workbench. Obviously, I'm going to try my best to show exactly what I'm doing so you can follow along, but I would prefer, if you're an absolute beginner, check out the other video. So I'm going to put on the link right here. I also did a few renders on KeyShot. I used some of the default environments that we have there, and this was the result. I think it's quite decent. So let me know in the comments if you want to learn how to render such a model in KeyShot, and then I'm going to make a video of the same. So, and then I tried also to create my own environment, as you can see here, and do some renders as well. And they also came out looking quite decent as well. You can Google some of the images that they have online of the concept car, and then you can compare with mine and let me know the improvements we can make. How do you think I did? And also we can learn together. So the first model obviously had the wing in a closed position, but the one that we are going to be learning, we are going to make the one where the wing is popped up. So you can see where the wing is popped up because it is retractable. The only thing I'm going to mention is that the rear wheels are supposed to be wider than the front wheels. And obviously I haven't done that here because I just copied the front wheels to the back, but these are supposed to be wider so that they can be symmetrical. As I said before, in the IMA workbench, when you're doing sketch tracing, you need to be in parallel mode. So you need to switch your viewpoint, render style from perspective to parallel. Okay, so that your blueprints are going to be on focus. But we do have a minor problem. We don't have any viable blueprints available, obviously, because the car has not been made yet. But I did find some photos that we could use, and as you can see, it worked. So I'm going to attach those photos in the description below, and then you can download them. Also, kindly, you can consider to go to my Patreon and become a member or buy a tier to make a small donation and support this work. But either way, let's just dive right into this tutorial. We'll start with the sketch tracer workbench, and then again make sure you're in parallel mode. Then we're going to start with the side view. So right down here, okay, we can select the image first. And then down here, you're going to select the side view. We want it along the x-axis. So this is the x-axis, and it's going in the negative direction. So you're going to place this right where it starts. And remember what I said about the blueprint. It's not perfect because it was taken in perspective mode. So you can see the shadows that are kind of longer at the front and shorter at the back. So you're going to focus on the dark shading. This is supposed to be where the wheels start at the bottom, and then this is going to be where the front plate is starting. Then we're going to extend this up to where the wing ends, again on the dark shadows. approximately the length of an F1 car is about 5,000 to 5,500, or it might go below 5,000 a little bit. So we're gonna go with 5,000. The height is usually about a meter, so it might be a bit lower or a bit higher, but because you're not sure, we're just going to enter our length, which is negative 5,000. And as you see, it's approximately 1 meter. And then you're going to select OK. Now we need to reduce this image, and you can to reduce it using this other cursor right there. It doesn't have to align perfectly with the inner one. The inner one is what is controlling the dimension, so that's the important one. Is about that point. That's good. We can go to the top view. So select top view. Select the top view. And we also want this to be along the X direction, not the Y. So we're going to rotate it afterwards. Just move this to the middle. You can zoom in. And then the latter to the end. Then this, you're going to use the rear wheel to see where it goes up to. But again, we're using the length mostly. So the aspect ratio is not going to change because you're not changing this value here. This is negative, hold on. This is negative 5,000. And it should be along the Y direction. As I said, we're going to rotate. But before we do that, we can just bring this up to there, sideways. And that as well. Then rotate 180 degrees. Just make sure these two lines are aligning. That will be 180 degrees. So it will be now along the x-axis. Select OK. So you see, along the x-axis. If you click on one of the pictures or painting, you can move it. So you're going to push this to the side and this one a little bit downwards to create space. On default, this is going to be at the center. It's going to be like this. So you just move it to the side. And now we can start plotting. So you're going to save your work. I've already saved this file. So you're going to save the product, and I'm saving it as Renault lesson 1. Now you can change the workbench. So just click on product and then go to the Imagine and Shape workbench. We start with the box on the top view. For closed profiles, we select a box. And then remember the Control and the Shift key your left hand has to be free for the Control and the Shift key. So just make sure it covers the entire length. So this is Shift Select when you're selecting multiple points. This is points. Make sure no propagation is selected at this point. We can go to the side view to position it. I can select everything. Just bring it about that point. Now, before we go any further, escape. Before we go any further, we need to make sure both our paintings are transparent. So just go to Properties. And if this is at 0, you're going to move it at about 100. And do the same for the second one. Go to Properties. And then move transparency to about 100. So we already said we changed our view to parallel mode. The next thing we're going to do is on the shading, we need to be able to see our points and mostly our edges. So instead of just material, you're going to click on this arrow and change. You have material with points and edges visible. Select OK. So you can see we have now our edges, and that way it will be easier to modify our surfaces. Let's go back to our box and go to the side view. So now you can shift select the ones at the bottom and raise them up. And we're going to align them right where this bottom plate is. Right there. Then select the top points. And we can check where this end point is, and that's where we're going to position it. Right there. Okay. Then apply. Escape. We need to see through, so you're going to select your part, which is a subdivision surface. And on Properties, change transparency to 50%. So if you don't see this on your taskbar, it's graphic properties. So you can right click here and make sure graphic properties is checked, and then you can position it here because you're going to need this toolbar set. So now we will be aligning this according to this profile. So we need to subdivide our surfaces. We need to add more edges. We need cut planes at the side and at the top. So on the top side, we're going to add a few more edges. So once you click on that, you select the edge. And then right here, I can select 6 or 7. It's better to have an odd number so that one of it is going to lie in the middle, and then you're going to have equal amount of edges distributed on both sides. So 7 is good on the top side. And then we have this, we can add 3 right here. So these 3, one in the center and one extra on each half. And then we have obviously the one we had before. So apply. And then we have this side profile. We're gonna need a couple of them. So I'm going to select this, and we might need a few. So let's make it 10 or 9. Let's make them 9 for now. And escape. So now it will be easier to modify our shape. And we're going to start with the top view shape. And the first thing we're going to do, so double click on the subdivision surface. Make sure everything is selected, right? Using this button. And try to move it to the center. You will know it's at the center when the center edge aligns with this plane here. I think that should be the ZX plane. So approximately just move it up to that point. You can change the robot definition to this point so that it's easier to move them, right? Then again, select everything. Now, go back. No, robot definition, select this point. Click on it again to go back. Then make sure everything is selected. And then you can now zoom in. Select everything and align it with the ZX plane. All right. Then now we can reset the robot. Apply. Go to affinity. With everything selected, just make sure the outer edge is covering the entire model. And now we can start, shaping these other corners here. So just zoom in. In fact, I can exit, give this a color that maybe is more visible. You can do red or you can do green so that it's more visible. Then double click again. I can select all these points at this level. Go to affinity. I'm using affinity so I can have some symmetry. Pull it a bit inwards. Like so. Then select everything else. So you can click on Shift and select more. Again on affinity. Reduce it up to that point. And then one thing I also noticed is this model wasn't perfectly symmetrical. So you might want to keep an eye on which side is bigger, which side. Just choose one side and use it. Hold on. I'm going to undo that. So I'm just shaping it based on the background image. You want to make sure this two stays the same, like they're just straight. So this is the wing. We are not using the wing, we are using the body. And then to avoid this depression, you can add another cut plane. Apply, exit. You can add another cut plane right here to stabilize it, and just select one. Then go back. Exit, double click. Select this. Go to translation. Move it a bit towards this side. Affinity. Okay, undo that affinity. So I'm just shaping it little by little. I can move this on the upper side as well. Go to affinity, make it wider. So where you're controlling the curve, it's better not to have an edge right on the curve. So about that looks a bit matching. There's not going to be much here because we're going to cut out this part. So if this one just is not straight, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as this part here match the edge of this front plate. Now another thing to note is this part right here is the edge of the top plate, which is kind of projected towards that side. So the edge of the actual model is not on this part. So we need to use the side view to push this up to its right position. So I'm going to select the edge points, go to the side view. So as you can see, this is where the wing is, but we need where the body is, and the body ends right where this plate is. So I don't know if we've still selected our points. We can select them on the side view. Shift select, go to translation, move it up to that point. Now go back to the top view. Make sure the shape still maintains. And that looks good. So apply, we are done with the top part.